I would like to talk to everyone today about the PISH, Universally Accepted PISH, or PIFO, as it's known, because we're trying to dispel any fears or concerns that public may have that be no more than we're letting on. So we're having these hearings today to talk absolute PISH about Batman balloons, helium balloons, and commercial 737 aircraft. Now, we believe that we have enough bullshit information now to dispel any interest that the public has and convince them all that we don't have a fucking clue what's going on. Now, as it's been made very aware, Jeremy Corbell has been putting disinformation into the UFO community for quite some time now. First of all, with his Bob Lazar documentary with the photograph of the prop hand scanner, which was used in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And he passed that off as legitimate and got away with it. So we decided he was a man to spearhead our campaign of putting out our disinformation with regards to the Batman balloon and later the commercial 737 aircraft, which was shot with a night vision scope, creating an effect called bokeh, which we passed off as flying pyramids. Now, here we are to 2022, and now we're having these public hearings about the universally accepted PIFO, and we need to convince the public that we don't have a clue what's going on. We do not have a grip on the situation. We do not have a handle on it. We do not have a clue. We are the same government that allowed 9/11 to happen, and now it's happening on a cosmic scale. But we're trying to prevent that. How are we doing that? Well, we're having these public hearings to talk about universally accepted PIFO. And a lot of those people out there will think that this is a bag of shit, but it doesn't matter because the majority of people will think that these are all legit talking hearings where we discuss this subject. Now, Luis Elizondo came on the scene in 2008 with the UAPTF task force to try and identify the origins of UAPs, which is quite odd because the STS-103 mission, which took place in December 1999, had alien activity all around it, and it's a big mystery as to how this happened in 1999, and Luis Elizondo came along 8 years later and could find no evidence of UAPs or their origins. So, it's a big mystery it's an even bigger mystery than UAPs, as to how Luis Elizondo even came along to spearhead this task force UAPTF in 2008 to 2017, when 2008 and 2017 took place well after 1999. Well, we rolled out Bill Nelson in his wheelchair to tell the public that they don't know what it is, and we don't know what it is, and we sure hope it's not an adversarial nation that has that kind of technology, and we think it worked. Yes, okay, have you anything else to say about that? No, that's about me for the moment. I'd like to say something. I'd like to say that there are seasoned journalists out there and seasoned ufologists that are all falling hook, line and sinker for this nonsense. It's absolute bollocks. Everyone knows it. The Batman balloon was an insult to anyone with an IQ of over 4. And somehow or other we managed to get away with this nonsense so far. So, how can we continue to get away with this absolute nonsense? Well, we will continue this rollout of nonsense, and we will continue to put nonsense out in the form of footage of helium balloons flying past aircraft, and we will show great concern about these helium balloons and the potential danger that they cause aviators operating within US territories. Now, Jeremy Corbell is to be thanked for all this kind of footage he's collected over the years with regards to the nonsense he has acquired with the flying pyramids, which was really just a commercial 737 aircraft. And he said it was a flying pyramid, and people bought it there, and then we had all the different news networks promote that nonsense, and we have successfully managed to inform the public that we do not have a grip on the UAP situation. Now, here we are in 2022, and I'm to the understanding that there's a man in Scotland by the name of James Welsh, and yes, he had multiple multiple close-range events during December 1999, one of which even turned out to be a CE4 encounter, which is abduction. And he only learned about this in 2021 after getting a NASA frame cleaned up and realising he'd been drawing the same entities for 2 decades. So his research is very, very in-depth, very analytical, and it flies in the face of everything that we're trying to tell the public. So we need to put more Batman Balloon footage out. We need to put more commercial 737 aircraft under night vision scope out. We need to put out as much diabolical disinformation as we can, because these hearings included, to convince the public that we don't have a fucking clue what's going on, when that's just simply not true. You can see there's a Krill standing behind me. You may have seen Captain Marvel, and you can recognise the ears on this alien entity, which is disguised as a bald human, but you can tell he's got Krill ears. Thank you. That was very nice. We really liked that. Was very passionate statement you made there about UAPs. Can we have someone else now talking about UAPs? I'd like to say something. Yes, I'd like to say that Adamski, back in the 60s, he was a con man, and he managed to get away with it for a long time. Yes? Well, I don't say why we can, because we have the biggest intelligence network on the planet, and we don't know what these things are. Honestly, we don't know. We don't have a clue what they are. We know from extensive study that this... No, get out of the way, woman, I'm talking. Yes, go away. Thank you. What was I saying? Yes, we know from the nonsense that Jeremy Corbell is promoting that it was just utter nonsense. And we know that Luis Elizondo is talking out a hole in his arse when he says that they are trying to determine the origins of UAPs. This is utter rubbish, and it flies in the face of all the research that Mr. Welsh has conducted over the last 2 decades. And it's amazing how an eyewitness, with all this research behind him, can go ignored while everyone listens to the words of a counterintelligence agent which has been put into the UFO community to talk utter nonsense. So we're here today to talk utter nonsense about UAPs and universally accepted piffle, and we're hoping that by doing this we can dispel the public's interest in UFOs and what the government actually knows about them. So, yes, the other amazing thing is that journalists, as I say, seasoned journalists and seasoned ufologists alike, are all falling for this bullshit hoodlum and a sinker. That's quite amazing. Yeah, don't you agree? It's quite... I can't fathom it myself. Yes, it's rather an eye-opener that so much bullshit can go on under everyone's noses and they don't even know about it. It really gets me every time. Yes, the Batman balloon was my idea. Yes, it was. I didn't expect it to be as successful as it was, but it done not bad. And hopefully we can talk later on and see some of the footage of one of these aluminium balloons in action, scaring the absolute shit out of our aviators over US territories. Now, before I go, I just want to say that this nonsense has to stop. This nonsense has to stop before the advert starts. And there's got to be an advert soon. And here we have more of the nonsense. And if I move this little monster around, we'll see the tinfoil balloon. Here it is in the background. The tinfoil balloon. It's just a balloon filled with helium. And we get the impression it's going really fast, but that's because the aircraft is travelling about 350 miles an hour. And the balloon is carried on a crosswind about 40-50 miles an hour, giving the impression it's flying past us at hundreds of miles an hour, but it's nonsense. And hopefully this concludes this UAP, Universally Accepted Piffle session. Thank you.